Hello, all you cosmic travelers and wanderers. This is Darlene Vandergrift and K. Melissa Waterman, inviting you to join us today in our episode of Expansion from Within, Exploring Multidimensionality.
Oh, here we are again. Welcome back, everybody. We're in episode number 43, season 3. It's amazing. I'm still blown away that we keep finding things to talk about.
Always, Melissa. If people only knew how many times that we talk, that's for like 3 hours,
That's
because we really just, and we go, oh, well, that's a important subject that we need to really put out there. Yeah.
It's true. Well, I think we left off last time talking about taking control of our mind. And I wanted to speak a little more about that before we move back into freedom. And by the
Sure.
way, taking control of your mind creates freedom, right? Because people I'm working with are in bondage to their mind. They don't even know that they're not free. They're saying, "Oh my gosh, I can't sleep at night. My mind won't shut off. I can't get my mind to shut off. I can't get my mind to shut up." It's like, well, whose mind is it? And why does it have its own mind? And let's get it under your control, because having control of our mind and what we're actually thinking, I mean, most of the time, I think when our brain is on overdrive, it's about tasks. It's about what we have to do at work tomorrow. It's about making sure we stay perfect little human beings and we keep up with whatever the flow is. But in fact, if you are not in control of your mind, you can't self-reflect well. You can't look at what you're thinking and say, "Oh, that's a silly thought," or, "Oh, I don't want to be thinking that way. I don't want to be judging that person. I don't want to be angry all the time." So I just wanted to talk about ways that I teach people to start small and to really practice taking control of their mind. And I beg people, most of my clients, I literally beg them to just do 3 minutes of meditation.
Mhm.
And when they hear the word meditation, they immediately say, "I can't do it. My brain just won't shut up. I can't do it." And it's like, no, no, no. We're not doing meditation with the hope that your brain will shut up. We're doing meditation to teach your brain to be quiet, to get 3 minutes where all you do for those 3 minutes is to say, "I'm going to think of my breathing," or "I'm going to pay attention to the sound outside this room or inside this room. I'm going to focus on a purple dot or a cup in front of me with my eyes sort of blurry." And that's it. And if a thought comes in, I'm going to say, "Nope, I'm thinking of that purple cup. Nope, I'm thinking of that purple thought. Nope, I'm thinking of that purple cup." I am not going to allow myself to think about anything except what I decide for 3 whole minutes. And no one can do it. No one can go 3 whole minutes without a thought, except, the Buddhist monks in Tibet that have been meditating for 22 hours a day, 40 years. They can do it great. They're in a whole nother state of brainwave. But if you can do it. You do it for a couple of weeks and you'll find you can go almost the whole 3 minutes without a thought coming in and intruding, and then move it to 4, and then move it to 5, and then explore the space in there. See what it's like in the dark in there. See if there's something you can think about that space, rather than having to pay attention to every thought and tell it to go away. Once you learn how to do that, then you can drive and just be driving when you drive. You
Mhm.
can wash the dishes and be in the moment and just feel the water and feel the soap. If you can if you can start with those 3 minutes, you're golden. You can actually take control of your mind whenever you remember to do it. If your brain is going, you say, "Oh, wait, not right now, brain. Later. I'll talk to you later." And it's okay to even make a deal and say, "I will talk. That is an important thing you're reminding me of. Thank you very much. I will do that at 10 a.m. I will think about that, but not now, not at 11 p.m., not at 1 a.m. I will think about that at an appropriate time." And to have a boundary with your brain. Have a
Mhm.
boundary with that part of your mind that's literally in high beta. It's a brain wave, and high beta and beta are all about busy, 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 doing, doing, doing. Most of the time, our energy is up around our head somewhere, up over our head, spinning. And we all want to feel more connected to ourselves, more grounded with our energy, at least in our heart, if not our feet. This is the way to start. Just 3 minutes a day. When you get good at it, move to 4. So that's my little,
Well, thank
my
you.
little, my,
I'd like
what,
to add to that.
oh, please do.
Yeah, so the other way for some people that is like a walking meditation, but that doesn't mean you're listening with iPods, with earpieces in or anything like that. Even for me in the house, if I'm cooking dinner and the TV isn't on, there is a relaxing, there's more of an intentional presence that feels very calming. And then you put the TV or any kind of sound in. And I know families that have 4 or 5 TVs on and they're all on at the same time, even if they're not in the room. And it's just bombards us with that energy, right? So we can't even think past that. So, the walking meditations, the hugging the tree, but it's really being in the presence of something else that's more calming and soothing, sitting down by water, watching that, but trying to, like you're doing, the breathing techniques while you're in an environment that isn't pulling you out. I know that as a kid, and I didn't even know what I was doing, but I was raised in an anxious kind of family for many things, for many reasons. I would close my eyes and just focus on black. Just black, 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 black. And I would go to sleep within like 2 minutes, So it's that I see it now as a training for me because I had no idea what that was. And I wasn't taught about meditation or whatever, but it was a way to calm myself so that I didn't think about anything during the day or the next day. So that it is important in having a relationship with your mind so that your mind isn't in control of your anxiety or creating more stress.
That's right. And high beta as a brainwave creates
Right.
adrenaline, cortisol, all kinds of chemicals that are not really healthy.
Yeah.
Not
And
unless
it's
we're about to
addictive.
say it again.
It's addictive.
Right. I
You
agree.
know, anxiety and excitement are very close together, so you become very wired for
Right.
trauma or the drama of life. Some
Right.
people look for that. Talk about belief systems, some people look for that trauma all the time. There's got to be something wrong. There's got to be, oh, this needs to be fixed. And oh, they're wrong. And look what's coming towards me. But it's an addiction in the physical body of that. Not that you really want to do it, but the body believes you have to do it.
Right. That's right. Well, we crave the chemical reaction that the thought produces. We crave that chemical reaction and then we go for it. We just keep
Right.
wanting more. Well, let's continue our talk on freedom. I mean, I think that was part of it, how to take control of your mind, to have freedom over your mind and what you're thinking. So freedom of beliefs is on our list next. What do you want to say about freedom of beliefs?
Everybody has them. Um, they're hard to get away from.
The freedom or the beliefs?
Probably both. So we believe what we feel is accurate, and yet everything is subjective, right? To your experience, your growing up, your culture, your long life, so what you believe to be true is really true for you, but not necessarily for anyone else. Just like we don't have the same fingerprints, we don't have the same, there's nothing in us that is the same as one other person. So our beliefs are guaranteed to be different than anybody. And even if we find somebody that's similar, the likelihood is you're going to find something that is just not aligned with exactly how you believe. So it's allowing that. It's allowing you to say, okay, but it's investigating. It's allowing and investigating. Why do I believe that? Where did that come from? Do I believe that all men are this? Do I believe that all women are that? Do I believe that blacks are this and white is like that? Where does that come from? Because you don't necessarily come in with that. It has to be something that's either in this family or it existed in another lifetime that is here so that you can heal it, or you can remove it, or you can integrate it, you can understand it. That's the main theme that I see with everything, is how do you understand yourself better by understanding what you believe to be true.
Right. Right. Well, and I think freedom, again, it goes back to the emotional thing to me. Like, I can have a belief as long as I'm comfortable with it in my own inside job, then I can have that belief, right? If I'm giving myself trouble over a belief, well, then there's no freedom, right? That once there's judgment, there's no freedom. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's a reasonable statement.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking about religions and freedom of beliefs in the different religions, and how we in our culture seem to be having an awful lot of trouble with certain religions, and we kind of favor other religions. But in actuality, all religions have a basic tenet, which is to be kind to one another and love each other.
Mm-hmm.
And we go about that in different ways. And then there are offshoots that, get crazy and want to, you know, kill certain sects or whatever. That's nuts. But for the most part, religion is based on love, and that we don't end up finding the common denominator. We keep doing this mine's better thing.
Mm-hmm.
Mine's the right religion. Mine's the correct religion. Mine's the better, bigger, yummier. When in fact, once we get into that mind thing, we're no longer in freedom.
Correct.
We're not in freedom toward another, but we're not even in freedom toward ourselves.
No, because it's confining to have one specific belief that you believe you're right.
Right. Yeah, once it gets to be I'm right, or me, mine, my belief, then we're already in a box. We're already in our own little lack of freedom box.
Right.
We don't even know it. That's an implicit bias.
Yeah. Yeah. And we can articulate things that are different. Like when you're talking to somebody that that is clearly not on the same page. So it's not like when you claim it, this works for me, this is my opinion, this is my belief, it feels different than we should all believe this because that's what I believe is to be true.
Right.
It's how we articulate our beliefs
Mhm.
that actually provides some sort of acceptance, I think, from the other person. When somebody says, like, this is just my opinion, or this is what I believe, or this is how I was raised, like I was raised with this belief system, as opposed to this is what I know to be true. And it's not just that, like, this is the truth. Like you just need to get on with your own life in some way or whatever. Or you need to follow me because you're going to die if you don't. It's those harsh places that push against someone else's belief system, and it gives no flexibility. It gives no understanding. It gives no mediation. There's just nothing there. And one thing that I really find is true, and I think I brought this up, in holding people in a box. Like, would you believe about males or females or black or white or brown people or whatever, kids or adults or old people, whatever you have that is your belief, and you hold them in that box, they can't get out of it,
That's right.
you know? Because
Mhm.
what we believe and what we intend and what we carry out in our actions really puts somebody else in that box, because we're not willing to change or look at where those beliefs came from.
Yeah, we are really powerful manifestors. And this comes back to self-reflection again.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to self-reflect and notice where we're judging, notice where we're holding constraints, literal constriction in how we see other people will change everything if we can release it. It's it's the ability to self-reflect that is our golden key
Mm-hmm.
to opening and awakening and changing and growing. It's an amazing piece, because I've judged my own children and thought there's a way they need to behave on the planet, and kept them for a time until I realized that my constraints were too hard we all fall into it. It's not that we need to be perfect. We just need to have the hope of awareness, of the hope of freedom, of, because it doesn't feel good when I'm judging my children, right? It doesn't feel good. It's not a pleasant situation
Mm-hmm.
for anyone.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, being able to self-reflect seems like the golden key to me. It's a
It is.
great place.
It is. And then in that self-reflection, you know, something that people could do is to look at what did you used to believe 20 years ago that you don't anymore?
Great question.
And who do you need to acknowledge that to, if anyone?
That's awesome.
Because that's going to clear timelines, whether it's in this lifetime or others, because our whole life, we've had people put in front of us. It's not like that law of attraction just started to happen when we were 18 or 21. That's been happening for a really long time since we took our first breath. So if we can acknowledge, wow, I believed that when I was 20, and now I'm 40, or now I'm 60, and I don't no longer believe that. Was there anyone in that time period that I inflicted that belief system on?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And if so, what do I want to do about it?
Right. Right. Hopefully we want to make amends. Hopefully we want to bring it.
Hopefully. And it may not be like we talked about before. You may not even know what to do with that person. Maybe they've passed me. This is where Ho'opono comes in. If
Right.
it's that detrimental to them, if it was that serious of a belief system that you inflicted on someone else, the Ho'opono is great in removing that. But there's other techniques out there, just doing a mindful prayer, of a meditation and saying, I really get it. Like, I don't know where you are in the world right now, but, I'm sorry that I did that to you.
I think that's very powerful. I think that can change everything, really.
Well, it's that accountability piece. It drops into the body of,
Right.
wow, and doesn't it feel good when you acknowledge that you've made a mistake or that
If
you
you don't
make a choice?
shame, if
If
you
you don't
don't
feel shame, that's true. But it's always like it feels so good to me when somebody says, and I have to get through the piece of, oh my God, I did something wrong, or I hurt their feelings or whatever. But it always feels good that, yeah, that's true. What you just said, that's true. I did do that. It feels like a combination, like the heart opens, but the back gets tight for me. It's like, oh, I need to get rid of the fact that that's okay. It's okay for somebody to remind you what you could be better at,
right. Right.
right?
Well, that's the ego again. That's the ego in service of the divine. The divine in us wants to be able to own and actually grow from all these situations rather than the ego in service to the self is protective. Like, oh no, we did something bad. They see it. It means we really are bad. That's the shame. That ego in service of the self, whoop, right into shame. It's just like a quick step.
Mhm.
You just, I should say a slide. It's not even a step. It's like a mud puddle. Bloop.
Just like that. And it's not even a big splash either. You just kind of sink into it. Yeah.
Just it. Yeah, that's something. I think that's really well said, Darlene. So let's talk about a little bit about accepting what is. I think it goes back to what we were talking about a little bit ago. That's sort of being able to accept what is actually happening, whether we like it or not, is a separate issue, right?
Yes.
Accepting this is the facts. Like if my child is going through a very difficult time, maybe they're acting out. Teenagers of mine did that quite a lot. It was so difficult to accept what just was the fact of things that were happening, that the judgment would come, and then this effort to try and change it, effort to try and make it different. That's where the box came in.
Mhm.
And I think if we can practice accepting what is, just even being able to see what actually is, to allow ourselves to be in the present moment is huge.
It is. And I think that, so you accept what is, but I think that goes right along with that is, what do you need to trust? If you accept that this is happening with your child in that moment, what do you trust? What is your belief system that you trust in? Some people like God will take care of them, or that everything turns out fine, or this too shall pass, or whatever those belief systems are. So, knowing what yours is. And a lot of times I'll tell people, what do you trust in, either about the universe, about God, about a higher being? Like, what do you trust in that's outside of the realm of what's happening in your life or in your loved one's life, so that you can lean into that? And in doing so, it creates freedom within yourself. It's that, oh, I could take a breath in because I am not in control of this. I'm not in control of this. This was clearly that person's choice. Okay. But for me, as what I'll tell people is not just what can you lean into that feels like the bigger picture, but I do something because I'm very visual. So I will put up a protective dome around the person, or that feels like it was so natural for me and my kids growing up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can go out and experience in the world as long as you don't die. Like, that was my boundary with them. Okay. You can go, you can come back, you can tell me whatever you want to tell me, but you're not allowed to do anything that's going to kill you.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a protection around that, which I think my mother had around me, because when the moment she died, I saw it all fall away. And I was like in this place of, who am I? It was both terror and relief, because all those walls that she had around me, I had no idea, went down the moment she died. And so I think I normally put that around my children without even having a lot of consciousness about that. But I would tell people that, like, put a boundary around them of light and love, put a dome of protection around them with their team of their own guidance system that's out watching for them. Lean into prayer or whatever, not anxious prayer, something that I'm going to pray, so that what you're doing is you're feeding the universe, you're feeding that field of, this is my intention for that child or that person or whatever. It's a sort of prayer, so that when you feed the field, you let it go, and then it comes back to you full fold, sometimes even better.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, I love it. I wish I knew about the dome protection when my kids were teenagers. I would have used it heartily. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's beautiful. The concept of accepting what is, if I have a dome of protection, if I have, for me, it's this is their journey. They have their own journey. They have their own journey. It would be like a mantra. I think I've spoke about it in other podcasts. I would try to reach their higher self and have some kind of communication. And I believe every time I ever tried it, although I would forget this bit of information until it was said to me yet again, was, this is in their service.
Mm-hmm.
This is in their service in some way. Like, the guides weren't willing to tell me how, but they were like, don't worry, this is in the child's service. Like, because, mom over here is doom and gloom, like, you're going to ruin your whole life, or something terrible is going to happen. And accepting what is
Mm-hmm.
might include the bigger picture, might include a higher view, so that you can just rest, just breathe into it and go, oh, okay, I don't have to be on fire about this. I don't have to put them in a box, a physical box, like their room, or an emotional, an etheric box. That it doesn't have to be quite like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I'm sorry, we're just about out of time today. Did you want to say one more thing?
I did, but now I don't remember what it was.
Oh boy, popped your bubble.
You did.
I
I
do.
know what it was. I know what it was.
Oh, tell me. Tell me.
That my experience in working, like, for 30 many years, probably even 40 by now, in working with families where they're, the kids up until now it's much older, 22, 23, but before it used to be 17, 18, before they got their legs straight under them in some way, is that they're really setting the tone for the rest of their life. So you can't really interfere because the situations or what they get into either leads them on one path or the other, right? So you can't navigate for them. You can suggest for them. You can show them something different. You can instruct, but you can't navigate. Because everything that's happening in those 18, 20 years experience for them is really about their next 20, 30, 40, 50 years ahead of them that they need to either work through or embrace.
Right. Yep, I agree.
That's
Yeah.
what I forgot to tell you.
I think I interrupted you, so that's why you forgot. I think we're going to continue this conversation one more session.
Sure.
We're going to involve the evolves, and we're going to see what they think about freedom and why it's important right now, and what their ideas for us for the future are, how they can guide us, right?
Yeah, that would be great because they're the ones that brought up freedom. So let's see what they have to say.
Yeah, they're in charge.
They are in charge.
I do have some announcements I'd like to make. So the Cosmic Travelers session is a live event that happens on the third Sunday of each month. Everybody participates in a guided interactive meditation directly with the evolves. Please contact soulunion.com to sign up to attend that. You can ask questions at soulunion.com. You can contact me, Melissa Waterman, at livingwellbeing.net. Both Darlene and I both have YouTube channels where you can find these episodes. And last but not least, we have a Facebook page called The Cosmic Travelers, and you can look for it under groups.
Yes.
Have anything else? No, that's it.
No, we're good.
All right, have a great day.
Remember, you know more than you know.